It was a crisp autumn afternoon when Lisa, Tom, and Mia decided to embark on their long-anticipated camping trip. The trio had been friends since college, and this was to be their first adventure together since they had all graduated and went their separate ways. They had chosen a secluded spot by a stream deep within the Pinewood Forest, a location known for its serene beauty and rumored ghost stories. The drive to the forest was filled with laughter and nostalgic reminiscing, the road winding through increasingly dense foliage. As they approached their destination, the sky was painted with streaks of orange and pink, casting a warm glow over the landscape. By the time they arrived at the stream, dusk had settled. The place was even more picturesque than they had imagined. The stream meandered gently, surrounded by towering pines and a carpet of fallen leaves. They quickly set up their campsite, the tent standing out as a small island amid the wilderness. "This place is perfect," Tom said as he unpacked the cooler. "I can't wait to get the fire going." Mia was already setting up the campfire pit. "Let's make sure we get some good stories lined up for tonight. I heard this place has a pretty eerie reputation." Lisa, ever the storyteller, nodded enthusiastically. "Oh, definitely. I've got a few tales in mind. But first, let's enjoy dinner and the stars." As the night settled in, the friends gathered around the campfire, the flames casting flickering shadows on the surrounding trees. They roasted marshmallows and shared stories, the initial cheer of their reunion giving way to a more reflective mood. After a while, Mia brought up the legends she'd heard about the area. "I've read that this place has a haunted reputation. They say it's been the site of several disappearances over the years." "Really?" Tom asked, intrigued. "What's the story behind it?" Mia leaned in, lowering her voice. "Apparently, there's a legend about a woman who disappeared here over 100 years ago. She was a local who was said to have been searching for her lost child. Her spirit is rumored to haunt the stream, calling out for help." Lisa's eyes widened. "That's chilling. Have you heard the details of her story?" Mia nodded. "Yes. She was seen walking along the stream's edge at night, calling her child's name. Some say you can still hear her cries if you're here late enough." The friends fell silent, their previous lightheartedness replaced by a creeping unease. They decided to go for a short walk along the stream to shake off the unsettling feeling. The moonlight shimmered on the water's surface, and the night was unusually still. As they walked, they heard a faint sound that seemed out of place, like the distant wail of a child. The sound was brief and faint, but it was enough to send a shiver down their spines. "Did anyone else hear that?" Lisa asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Yeah," Tom replied, trying to sound nonchalant. "But it's probably just an animal." They returned to their campsite quickly, trying to focus on their stories and the warmth of the fire, but the eerie sound lingered in their minds, casting a shadow over the evening. As the night grew darker, the temperature dropped. The friends huddled closer to the fire, its warmth a small comfort against the cold air. Lisa decided to share a more personal story about a friend of hers who had experienced something unusual. "Years ago, my friend went camping in a place like this," Lisa began. "They were staying by a stream just like this one. On the first night, they heard strange noises, whispers that seemed to come from the water itself. They thought they were imagining things, but the next morning, they found eerie, unexplainable footprints leading away from the stream." "That's freaky," Mia said, looking nervously around. "But I guess it's just a coincidence, right?" Lisa nodded, but her expression was serious. "Maybe, but the weird part is, they weren't alone. There were 3 of them, just like us, and they all heard the whispers." Tom scoffed, trying to lighten the mood. "Come on, guys. It's just stories. Nothing's going to happen." But as if to challenge Tom's skepticism, the temperature around them seemed to drop even further. The fire flickered as though a gust of wind had passed through, though the night was still. "I feel like there's something watching us," Mia said, her voice trembling. "It's like the woods are alive." The friends tried to laugh it off, but the unease was palpable. The whispers they had heard earlier seemed to have returned, now accompanied by the sound of soft, deliberate footsteps crunching on the leaves around their campsite. "Okay, that's not normal," Tom said, standing up. "I'm going to check it out." He walked towards the source of the sound, his flashlight beam cutting through the darkness. The footsteps continued, but when he shone the light in the direction they seemed to come from, there was nothing there, only the dark forest and the shimmering stream. When he returned to the campfire, his face was pale. "I didn't see anything, but the sounds are definitely real." With a sense of dread hanging over them, the friends decided to turn in for the night. They hoped that sleep would bring them some relief from the unsettling atmosphere. But sleep did not come easily. Lisa, Mia, and Tom lay awake in the tent, each of them unable to shake the feeling of being watched. The whispers continued, now almost audible through the fabric of the tent. Around midnight, Mia decided to investigate. She quietly slipped out of the tent and walked to the edge of the stream. The moonlight made the water appear almost spectral, and the whispers grew louder. "Hello?" Mia called out tentatively, her voice trembling. "Is anyone there?" There was no response, only the faint sound of water moving and the persistent whispers. Suddenly, Mia felt a cold hand brush against her arm. She spun around, but there was no one there. Her heart raced as she hurried back to the tent. When she re-entered, her face was ashen. "I felt something touch me by the stream. I'm not going out there again." Lisa and Tom tried to comfort her, but the atmosphere was becoming increasingly oppressive. The friends huddled together, their sense of camaraderie turning into a shared fear. The night dragged on, with the whispers and footsteps continuing relentlessly. The friends were now certain that they were not alone. The air around them felt charged with a palpable sense of dread. As dawn approached, the whispering seemed to reach a crescendo. The friends could now clearly hear the words,
"Help me find my child."
Desperate to understand what was happening, Lisa grabbed a flashlight and went outside once more. The stream seemed to be glowing faintly, as if it held a light of its own. The whispers were louder than ever, and Lisa felt a chilling breeze as she approached the water's edge. Suddenly, she saw it, a figure standing in the middle of the stream. It was a shadowy form, barely visible, but its presence was unmistakable. The figure seemed to be reaching out, its hands stretching toward Lisa. In terror, Lisa stumbled backward, calling out to Tom and Mia. They rushed outside and saw the figure too, their faces reflecting the same horror. The shadowy figure seemed to be beckoning them, its mournful cries echoing through the forest. With their hearts pounding, they fled back to their campsite, packing their belongings in a frantic hurry. The figure remained by the stream, its cries growing fainter as they distanced themselves. By the time the first light of dawn broke through the trees, the friends had packed up and were ready to leave. They moved quickly, driven by a primal fear that urged them to get as far away as possible. The whispers had stopped, but the sense of dread lingered. As they drove away from the forest, they couldn't shake the feeling of being followed. The shadowy figure by the stream had left a lasting impression on their minds. They had come seeking a peaceful night of camping, but had encountered something far more sinister.